I'm Ryan Walker.
And I'm Sarah Brown. I am head of supplier management for Ivy Corporation. Glad that you are on our working with us for the last month.
Thank you. Well, I'll start first by going over the company-wide numbers. There was quite an impressive month for Ivy Corp, as you can see by the revenue of almost $4.5 million.
Sure is.
And impressive profit contribution margin of a little over 46%. With, again, as you can see in the graph, the highest cost driver being direct materials, a little over $1.6 million.
Okay.
Immediate recommendations, probably obvious.
Direct materials are a little heavy.
Little heavy on direct materials. Definitely the highest cost driver overall, contributing to a lower than possible profit margin.
Right.
So immediate recommendations would be review vendor costing options, maybe cast a larger net for requests for proposals from various vendors, materials vendors, and look into those economies of scale. Find what's repeatable, higher quantities. It's going to lead to a lower cost per unit. And looking further, by country and facility, you can see which ones excel over the others in terms of generating revenue, but also generating those costs, namely, again, direct labor.
Yes, economy of scale is a good point. But us being a young company, we hope to get there soon. As you can see, we only have 2 facilities in Canada and a few in the United States. So
with so few options, it makes sense. Yeah, you obviously have a few superstars for where your revenue is coming from. Those same 2 also sucking at that profit a little bit more with those direct materials costs. What's somewhat interesting about these figures here is you'll find that the Canadian facilities align with your overall profit margin around 46%, whereas Texas, being number 2 in revenue generation, is actually the lowest in profit margin. They have just higher costs overall when compared to everywhere else. And surprisingly, with the tiny guy over there in Kansas with the smaller revenue actually has the highest profit margin.
Wow.
So immediate recommendations for that would be if it's possible to direct more manufacturing through the Kansas facility. It seems, based on what information is available, that a higher profit margin would be produced by those orders.
It shows how numbers can be deceiving.
Quite. Indeed. Looking at, we dove even further in to look at the top 10 job numbers. Top 10 jobs, rather, with the highest gross profit, and found that although the Kansas facility leads in overall gross profit margin contribution, the North Carolina facility, 5 out of 10 of these jobs from the North Carolina facility.
Oh, wow. Wow.
In terms of revenue generation versus overall costs, the biggest orders going through North Carolina, obviously there's some greater success happening there that should be looked at
into
further.
That. All right. But it is a little cheaper down there as far as some labor and
which is kind of the curious point. A lot of these facilities being more in the south of the United States, where labor is certainly cheaper. Finding that Texas had the highest materials costs overall.
True. And we don't all tend to buy from the same vendor, unfortunately. So could be an issue. Yeah. So this is like top 10 jobs, huh? Okay.
Yeah. So here are the top 10 jobs by revenue. Again, breaking these down, the majority of them came from the North Carolina facility. So just the bigger sales, the bigger orders, and the most profitable orders did run through North Carolina. Not much value aside from maybe assigning the job number two, maybe the salesperson, kind of did a little bit of cross analysis and didn't really come up with any additional conclusions aside from obviously North Carolina is the main revenue generator for a reason.
Right.
So,
right. Okay, great. Perfect.
Speaking of salespeople, lining up overall revenue, yes, and bringing in the
she's always
top,
she has been a superstar for us.
Yeah, I absolutely say that should be on the docket for maybe sales supervisor,
yeah,
district manager, that, something along those lines where
yes,
she can
I
really
agree. I'll let her know.
Bring her revenue generating skills and distribute those to others.
Okay.
Though not to say that those on the right side of this graph don't have any value or have less value. Catherine and Sophie are actually of the higher profit margin orders by salespeople. Yeah. So in order of highest profit margin, Catherine was the first. So lowest revenue, but highest profit margin contribution per order. For that salesperson. So she must obviously also have some insights that she could provide, maybe assist Anne as well.
Good point.
In keeping that revenue high on Anne's side, but maybe lowering.
Definitely,
costs.
I'll definitely bring that up at our company meeting next month. I'll have them all get together and brainstorm.
Wonderful, and that can be a separate, package of additional recommendations that we can put together. I don't think it was included in the original analysis package, but certainly something that we can look at.